Actually miscalculated. We only have 11 senses in addition to our 5, which makes it a total of 16. So we have vision, sight, audition, hearing, gustation, taste, olfaction, smell, and tactition, tactile, touch. So that's the 5 basic senses. We also have a sense of our muscles. We have a sense of hot and cold. We have a sense of hunger and thirst. We have a sense of pain. We got a sense of balance in our heads and bodies. We have a sense of movement. We have a sense of passing, a sense of the passing of time. So we know we have a sense of maintaining homeostasis in the blood system. We have a sense of direction, a sense of pressure, and a sense of itch, which is different than touch. It's a whole other system. Itching is different than touching. Our muscles is also a sense of our joints and other body parts. It comes from the Latin proprius, the proprioception. So that's one of the senses, proprioception. Proprioception from the Latin proprius, meaning one's own. So you can sense one's own muscles and joints, and it's the stretch receptors within the organ, usually muscles, that these proprioceptors occupy. Now, they're closely related to interoception, but they're different. Interoception is a sense of hunger and thirst, also of a heart rate, breathing, shitting, sweating, and pissing, i.e. elimination. And so interoception detects responses that guide regulation, including hunger, heart rate, respiration, elimination. Stretch receptors are found in such places such as the lungs, bladder, stomach, and the gastrointestinal tract. Lungs, bladder, stomach, and the gastro. Of stretch receptor that senses dilation of blood vessels is also often involved in headaches. The sensory receptors for interoception are free nerve endings, most of which are located in fascial tissues throughout the human body. It's helpful to understand that proprioception and interoception are organized differently in the human brain, and that very different pathways, afferent pathways, are involved in them. Thermoception is the sense of hot and cold. Heat, hot and cold, hot and cold. I like what's the layman going to call these? So I think it's a sense of hot and cold, a sense of pain. Nociception is the ability to feel pain. There's actually 3 different types of pain receptors. You got cutaneous, skin, somatic, bones and joints, and visceral, body organs. So skin pain, bones and joints pain, and body organ pain. Those are the 3 kinds. Equilibrioception, I think equilibrium is actually a good, or just maybe not equilibrium. I think one of these is going to be homeostasis. The peripheral chemoreceptors maintains homeostasis in the blood system, but it does look to me that interoception very much maintains homeostasis in the lungs, bladder, stomach, and the gastrointestinal tract. So we have equilibrioception, a sense of balance in our heads and bodies, just maintaining equilibrium. It makes me think of those gyros that essentially keep the segways rolling, the hoverboards. So equilibrioception is the ability to keep your balance and sense of body movement in terms of acceleration and directional changes. So, you don't just lean over to one side and fall over. You instinctively put your foot out there. So was vestibular. I had actually categorized this as different. It's the sense of balance in our heads. This system contributes to the balance and orientation, movement, and position of our heads relative to the gravity in space. So the vestibular is like, okay, gravity, right? We learned the gravitational constant, 6.67 times 10 to the negative 11th power times n, close parentheses, m over kg, meters over kilograms, close parentheses, squared. So nociception is the sense of pain. Equilibrioception is the sense of balance in our heads and our bodies. Vestibular is just specifically balance in our heads. And so the vestibular labyrinth system here says that it's also the equilibrioception system too. And so it works by sensing the motion of the fluid in the 3 canals in your inner ear. By sensing the motion of fluid in the 3 canals in your inner ear, as well as sensing the weight of small crystals of calcium carbonate on tiny hair-like sensory receptors. So vestibular, I think, could be put with equilibrioception. So equilibrium, right? Sense of balance in our heads and our bodies. Kinaesthesia is a sense of movement. So whereas the balance in our heads and bodies is more like a gyro, right? It just makes sure we stay upright. Kinaesthesia is a sense of movement. So we actually know how to, throw an arm or run, or we actually can move. We actually know how to use our body. Chronoception, sense of the passing of time. We have a very startling, accurate sense of time, especially children. So that could be useful, right? But also time is relative. So peripheral chemoreceptors maintain homeostasis in the blood system. It's also associated with the vomiting reflex. So why do you vomit? Because of your peripheral chemoreceptors. Specifically, peripheral chemoreceptors help maintain homeostasis in the cardiorespiratory system by monitoring concentrations of blood-borne chemicals. These polymodal sensors respond to variations in a number of blood properties, including low oxygen, hypoxia, high carbon dioxide, hypercapnia, and low glucose, hypoglycemia. So that's what these peripheral chemoreceptors do. Maintain homeostasis in the blood system to alarm, to tell us when there's hypoxia or hypercapnia or hypoglycemia going on. We also have a sense of direction, sense of pressure, and a sense of itch. The 16 senses of the human body. A sense of itch, which is different than touch. A sense of pressure, like, oh my God, man, the pressure, like living in a capitalist society, the pressure. No, it's actually physical pressure, right? So if there's something pressing down on you. Sense of direction. You go one way, can you turn around and go back the other way? Do you have a sense of direction? That is, yes, we all have a sense of direction. Shit. Sense of homeostasis in our blood system, the sense of the passing of time, the sense of movement, the sense of balancing our heads and bodies, equilibrium, sense of pain, sense of hot and cold, sense of hunger, thirst, heart rate, breathing, shitting, sweating, pissing, elimination. So a sense of homeostasis within our bodies, proprioception, a sense of our muscles, joints, and body parts, plus sight, hearing, taste, smell, and touch. Those are the 16. You got 16.